All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. This is going to be a quick lesson on the different ways that Israelites can look, man. And the simple question right here now is, does this guy look like Wesley Snipes? All right. Does this guy look like John Shaft? Does this guy look like Michael Jordan? Does this guy look like a so-called black man? Right? And the answer to that question is clearly no. Now, next question, does this man look like an Edomite? And the answer is clearly yes. Now, what I'm going to do here, right, and to my knowledge, the person that's going to be on the left-hand side of the screen towards this man is his father, right? Now, they don't look nothing like each other, right? They don't look nothing like each other, man. But that's this man's father, man, right? That's that man's father. He is another image with him with the same guy, right? And in this image, I guess you could say that he looks a bit more like an Israelite. But then you've got this image here. Nobody is going to think that this man is a Jake. Nobody's going to mistake this guy for LeBron James walking down the street. Nobody, if this guy was in England and he committed a crime, the officer's not going to be saying we're looking for an IC-free male. You know, they ain't going to say that. They ain't going to say that, man. But this man is his father, right? And that woman is his mother. And then that lady, if I'm not mistaken there, is his sister, man. And she's got more of the Israelite image than him, right? Now, what I'm going to do, right, is go back a bit. Because this man here, he has children, right? He has children. And let me just show something else quickly, man. Because this man's wife, right? This man's wife looks like this. Okay, so this is his wife, right? A pretty Edomite woman or whatever, right? This is them two together. And these two have children together, right? And if people saw him, they're clearly going to think he's an Edomite. But if he's got children with, if he's got children with a woman that looks like this, right? Then obviously the children are going to look like Edomites, man. But guess what? Because of the seed of the father, they're not Edomites. And the children still go back to, right? The children still go back to, the children still go back to this man here, right? The children still go back to this man right here, man, who is an Israelite, clearly. He's clearly an Israelite, right? He's clearly an Israelite. And he doesn't look nothing like his son, right? The son looks more like the mother. Clearly, you can see that. But then the daughter looks more like the father, right? But people wouldn't mistake these two for being brother and sister neither. They wouldn't mistake that, man. They wouldn't mistake them for being brother and sister. They probably don't believe that. A lot of the times when they've been growing up, they probably don't believe it, man. And that's why, and even in this picture here, his father's got a beard, he looks even more like a Jake, man. When he's a younger man in his strength, he looks even more like a Jake. You see what I mean? He looks even more like a Jake, man. He kind of looks a bit like, I don't know, man. I don't even know what I can say that he looks like, to be fair. But when he's got the beard there, he looks even more like a Jake. You see? He looks even more, he's got even more stronger Israelite image there. And if I'm not mistaken, so like, that's Michael Jordan in the back. And that's him there. And that son doesn't look nothing like Michael Jordan, but they're still more than likely part of the exact same tribe, man. Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan. And this is the point that people want to try and have an excuse to hate the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, and they want to try and call us racist, right? Because we'll assume that most people that look like Edomites are Edomites. We'll assume that. And that's a righteous assumption to make. But once you test them by the Spirit, which is the words of the Lord, then it gets revealed who's who, man. Right? It gets revealed who's who at that point. You see what I mean? It gets revealed at that point then. And that's why the scriptures are clear, saying not to worry about endless genealogy, because there's people that look like Esau that could be an Ishmaelite. You see? There's people that look like an Israelite, but they could be a Moabite, man. Right? And vice versa. But the Spirit is going to make every single Israelite that's supposed to receive salvation receive it, and there's not going to be anybody that's going to be able to stop that from happening anyway. But people are trying to make us change the doctrine and say, oh, we shouldn't treat people that look like Edomites because they ultimately just want Esau to get some favoritism. But haven't these Edomites received enough favoritism and they haven't did nothing for it? What does it say in Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 10? Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness? In the land of the Lord, he'll deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. Roughly, I believe that's what it says, man. So why would we all of a sudden start treating Edomites like every single Edomite like there could potentially be an Israelite, right? When the majority of them are clearly going to be Esau, man. Why would we do that? This woman, more than likely, is an Edomite, but she could be an Israelite. But more than likely, she's an Edomite woman that's got Israelite children. So if any of the children that came from between her legs happen to be an Israelite that's of the elect, and she's an Edomite, she ain't getting on the chariot, but they are. Simple as that, man. It's not a thing to get emotional over and start crying. It is what it is. Yahweh said he's going to destroy the Edomites anyway. So all these people talking about some thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, let's just say for a second that it meant what they say it means. That wouldn't change what's going to happen to them. That wouldn't change the scriptures about dashing their children to pieces. That wouldn't change prepare slaughter for his children. That wouldn't change he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. That wouldn't change Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 18, that there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau. So what good is that going to be, man? That ain't going to change that. We still have to talk about the judgments of Esau. That wouldn't change none of that. The world's basically just got a problem that Israelite men in particular are standing up for something, man. That they've got some kind of moral code now. And that is starting to be more of a like everyday occurrence, man. That people are starting to realize that they're Israelites and that they're not just black scumbags like people try to tell them, man. We're not black, right? But this world wants us to think that we are. But we're not trying to hear that no more, man. We ain't trying to hear that speech about us being black. We ain't trying to hear that because we know, right, that there's Israelites that look like this. We know that. We know that there's Israelites that look like this. So they can't try and put that black stuff on us, man. This guy would clearly not be treated as a so-called black man in this world. Clearly, clear as day. He does not look like a so-called black man. He don't look like a Latino, and he don't look like a Native American neither. He looks like an Edomite, clearly, right? But then sometimes, on certain occasions, he kind of looks like an Edomite with a tan. But he doesn't look like a so-called black man. That's the point. That's the point, man. But this world, yeah, wants to try and put the word of Yahweh in a box, and it fails miserably every time, man. But then at the same time, it wants the Edomites ultimately to be treated in a righteous way, because nobody don't ever really say that we shouldn't treat so-called Chinese people badly because they might be an Edomite. But they always try and put that stipulation on us. Nobody don't ever say to the Chinese, we all go back to Africa, so you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that. They're only trying to say that stuff to Israelites, and we don't all go back to Africa. That's the thing. We all go back to the Middle East, man. We all go back we all descend from there, from that part of the world. And Yahweh's made different nations, man. There's 18 nations on the earth. Israelites, Edomites, and then the rest of the heathen. And there's always been different classifications of men. There was the sons of God, the children of the wicked, and then the children of men. There's always been classifications on earth, man. Always. And they always will be. Right? But this is just a lesson showing that not every single Israelite is going to look the same, man. And that's what makes these people not be able to put it into a box of racism, what they would feel comfortable trying to say. Because when they try and say that we're racist based on skin color, and then we bring out Derek Jeter, or we bring out Stephen Graham, or we bring out Jade Goody, or we bring out Ryan Giggs, or we bring out Jessica Biels, or we bring out Logic, the rapper Logic, or we bring out Halsey, right? Or we bring out Cameron Diaz. Then they start looking stupid when they try to call us racist based on skin color. Then they can't do it, man. Then they can't try and put it in the box that they would want to try and put it in. Because there's clear examples of us saying that, no, some people that look like you are Israelites, but the majority of you are going to be getting destroyed because you're not Israelites. And that's what Yahweh did and performed for us, so that these people can't try and put us in any of the boxes that they feel comfortable putting us in, man. They can't do that. They can't try and call us no black Hebrew Israelites, because it's not a thing about that. It's a thing about your lineage. Who does your lineage go back to, man? This man's image lineage right here goes back to him. And his lineage more than likely goes back to Israel. But let's say, for example, his lineage don't go back to Israel, and his lineage goes back to Moabites. Then he's a Moabite, and he's a Moabite. But I don't believe that that's the case, though. I don't believe that to be true. But I could be wrong. But it still doesn't make the difference in the doctrine that your lineage, it decides what your nationality is, not your skin color. But that's what this world tries to push. And that's why it's not even a thing in this world where people think about the lineage based on their forefather, and everyone's running around talking about their mixed and all of that madness, to where it's confusing. Because if we knew exactly who every single person was that's an Edomite, it would be possible for men to try and pull it on their own hands to try and get rid of Esau themselves. But Howard's made it so that we can't do that, because we could potentially end up destroying an Israelite, man. But this world wants us to try and treat every single Edomite in a favorable way, because 10, 20%, 30% of them might be Israelites. But that would be a dangerous way to go about things, because you'll potentially be trying to bring Esau the serpent around you, man. I'm going to end the lesson there. Like, this is just a quick video going into how Israelites look like very many different nations, man. Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.